Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a calculator to support kilt makers in making kilts, and part of their job is making pleats. And part of making pleats is understanding the relationships between the size of the pattern, the number of pleats, the width of the pleats, and so on. Now, we have been, well, struggling's a nice word, spiking. We've been trying to make it so that we'd like this hip measure, and we put a trial one in, kind of a spike called hip 2. If nothing's been entered, we want to say hip measure is required. Now, I see there's similarity across these two in the messages. I think they're pointing to the same actual object. If I'm in a different field, it should still be there. If I start typing 1, that's fine. 0.3 or 1.2. If I do point, I should get the error message, too many points. So the error message is coming from the validation of the value. But if it's a valid value, oh, see, there's something weird here. The message is persisting. Let's see. Oh, I thought we had this down. Okay. That comes back. 6 comma, interesting. 6/8. I don't know if that should be legal. Tab. Focus move 6/8. Okay. We're gonna have to see what's going on here. Oh. I don't know. Maybe the time has come to just make it happen in the real world and figure these things out as we go. What do we got at this point? Okay, here's field 2 is hip 2. All right. It's got its own keypad. That's fine. It's got a focused field. So basically, I'm not sure what's the problem, but if designer hip string is empty, return. Okay, so I guess, okay, we're just going to, we're not going to worry about the focus then, I guess. If focus not equal hip 2, so if focus changes, so when we go from here to here, we should get that message. Yeah. Focused to focus moved, hip 2, and so on. Now, what's weird? TextField designer.hipstring. So we got this hip string. When it's set, if hip string is empty, well, I think we've left out hip error. There's something funny here. It's like the error is not being cleared out, even though it validates. So let's break here. Oh yeah, I think that's it. We're not clearing the error. Maybe hip error. Let's look at hip error. Okay, so it checks that it's positive, required, and positive. So if it's empty, return pleat validation. Oh, if it's not empty. If it is empty, we should just say hip measure is required. Not plate validation is empty. Okay. Otherwise, return hip validation error. Yeah. Yeah, something's not resetting that. Okay. All right, so let's go back. Find that hip string again. Okay, if it's empty, do hip 2 equals no. Oh, yeah, this is, I think at the end we almost recognize this. Okay. I don't know if I wrote that in after the session or right at the end of the session. Yeah, I was thinking it was failing here. So let me take this off. All right. So 1.2 is fine. Point gets too many dots. Delete the point. Oh, okay. Yeah, something's not being cleared. Okay, now I want to know if we get here. All right, let's start over. Okay, 1. Good. Point. Ugh. Okay, got rid of that. Point. Two. Okay, missing denominator, that's good. Point, too many dots. Did not get here. Okay, so it failed to parse. And so it must be here. Okay. Well, I guess I want to come here too. Point. Ah. I think you used error from hit measure when there's no error in the input. Right, something's... I don't know. I'm very tempted to just jump forward. Let's see if I think you used error from hit measure when there's no error in the input. So this thing... hip string. Yeah, so what I think we should do is I think this state should not be on our object at all. I think it should be part of the field, and I think it's a sort of a custom field, and we're going to tell it the name of the field, obviously. We're going to give it the pointer or a bound value that corresponds to this, and then I think a validator function that, or a type or something, so it can validate and then see what to do when it sees an error. And right now we've got 2 kinds of errors going on, or maybe 3. So this probably gets caught there. Yeah, I guess why is this an error? I mean, I'm wondering if this catches it or not. Well, I think even a new type, because it's going to have its own state. So I think it's going to have the string. I think it's going to have a text field that takes strings. I did not do any work on this. I just kind of thought about it. So I was very tempted, but it's like, oh, save it for the session. It holds a private string that corresponds to the contents of our field. And then every time it changes, it's going to run the validator. And if it can't parse it, that's an error. because it'll throw a parse error. Or if it succeeds in parsing, then run its validator, and that will give us an error on the value type. And again, it should go in the error message. And then when it's done, it can update the bound value with the actual value if it succeeds. But okay, let's see if I've got the right one. Okay, so hit measures required, yes. 1.2, good. Point, yep. Okay, 0.3/8. Okay, I think that's done it. All right. Let's make sure tests are clean. Okay. Okay, and I don't know. Okay, we'll pull this out shortly, but it's going to be a validating text field. That lowercase f? Nope. Okay. And I don't know if it's going to be a text field. Maybe. Not yet implemented. Well, everybody goes TBD these days. Okay, so hip2. Well, this function is what I want to come over. Field 2. Yeah, well, if I want to do this. I think it has one, that is one. All right, so here's func from below, field 2, rather. All right, so one thing, designer.hip error. We don't know designer, but I don't want to. Okay, let's... Okay. Let's say var label of string. Okay, and then every hip2 is going to be label. Everyone being these two. Label. Okay. What else is going wrong here? Designer. All right, we'll need a binding. I don't know, can I say binding? Bound. His type is V, which we can refine later. Bound of type V. Okay. And then, I'm going to call it val. Okay, that's bound. No, something's not right there, but we'll, oh, this is not good. I don't know. Oh dear. Okay, I don't want this to... I guess he can know his own focus state, right? Maybe I won't worry about that yet. Okay, we getting anything yet? All right. Bound. Right. I don't think we need the binding yet. I think we need some state input of var input of string. And then the state is what's managed as text. Okay. Okay, prefix bound. Yeah. Yeah, because I think what we're going to do is the field is going to manage it as text. When it gets a good value that can convert and can pass validation, it's going to set the binding. So that'll be on this onChanged, or, when will it be? Well, I don't know, text updates right away. So we may be able to get onChange of input or something. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're compiling, at least. We're not using this thing. Let's do that. Okay, whoops. Okay. So field 2. Well, this is going to be our validating text field of value. Label is hip2 for now. Input of string, I don't want that in there. And then binding of borrow. I think it's this. Okay, I'm going to take this out. One more. Okay. Now, what's wrong here? Binding a value question mark. Yeah, I need view. I don't know about this one. Does that fix the one? He is a view. Okay. big here. Okay, validating value. Okay, I think we can run it. And then we'll see HIP2 just as text TBD. Text in field label. Text dollar input. That should be editable by now. Oh. Yeah, it's text field. Where's that TBD? Body. Oh, yeah, I wanted to call field 2. Okay, there's hip. We know there's view constraints being messed up. Okay, that's not our problem. All right, so 1.2.3, see, it's just accepting it as text. All right, so I think we're okay so far. All right, so what I want to do. I guess let's try the on change of input. Okay, let value equal well, generically, I'm not going to have value forever, but value.parse of input. I have to do a try catch, I think. Can I convert to equatable? Can I convert value of string to such a type? This. Equatable to void. One change of on change of returns a view. Right. Performs an action. Okay, equatable to void. The whole thing returns a view. Okay, what's it saying? Something's not equatable? Can I convert value of type string to expected type? Oh, dollar. Well, that's weird. Oh. One change of focused field is focused. Okay, let's just see what we are, and we'll print the value. Binding of string. Oh, I don't want the binding. Okay. I'll get there. Back and forth. All right. So this, yeah, this can throw. Okay, so I'm expecting as it types, I did. I expect every time we type or delete a character that we'll get this thing printing it. We'll attempt to print the value. If it's illegal, we'll print the error. All right, and there may be, yeah, I don't know. Trying to think if I can test this directly. Okay, so if I type A1, that's legit. 1 value number 1, right? Point, okay. 3, fine. Point, too many dots. Okay. And delete should take it back, and value. Okay. Yeah. We're getting there. All right. I don't know about this, but I'm not going to worry about it too much yet. Everything we're doing on this screen is going to use numbers, so it's probably okay. All right. So I don't know if we need to worry about focused, because we're just updating as it goes. And if focus changes, well, it's whatever it last was. All right, but we have more state, and that's the error message. Okay, it starts out empty. All right, so if the value is there, then error message should clear. And if the value is not there, I think it's error dot localized description. Our strings may not have that yet. our parsers are strings, and they don't have localized descriptions, I don't think, but I think that's what you're supposed to use. All right, so now for that same thing, let's take this printout. Oh, actually, I didn't change fields. Let's do that. I don't know if I'm still running enough. Yeah. Okay, so changing fields did not change the output here. Okay. All right, so yeah, I think we don't have to worry about the focus stuff. Which is a nice relief. All right. But so we should get this error regardless. All right. So let's run this. And I don't know if I can. A UI test could maybe test this. I don't think we can as unit tests. I mean, there's just so much stuff passing in and all that. I'm not sure it really helps the world. All right. So 1.3 point. Too many errors. Okay. That's all great and back, but I forgot to display it. Okay, so padding, designer hip error is empty 08. I think that really is error message is empty 08. This is error message. It's empty border. If not empty, okay. 1, point, 2, point. Oh no. Okay. The operation couldn't be completed. Swift string error 1. So I think this is the localized description thing. So let's find our errors. Whoops. No, it's a general find error. I think it was on our parse thing, yeah. Oh. We would wrapped it like that. Oh, here's extension string error. Oh, I don't know who's using this. I don't think anybody is now. Nope. Okay. I know I probably should do that elsewhere. All right, so enum string error. And then I think I can say var localized description. Is that going to do it? I know we saw an example of this somewhere on our travels. All right, let's run. Interesting, it's a runtime error. Okay, let's see. Swift use string as error type with localized description. Is a protocol which says nothing to adhere or override. This is a type-wide interface. Oh, do I make this? Localized error protocol. Okay, let's Swift localized error. Error description. Well, the Apple docs just really have a shortage of examples. I mean, error description. I guess if I made myself a localized error, would I get that stuff? Okay, advanced Swift. Okay, an error conform to the error type. Looks like I get a choice. I could be custom string convertible. Let's try that. And then in our view, we'll use dot description. Well, Yeah. Well, I guess I can do this. Okay. Conformance of string to custom string. Okay, let me close this because it keeps coming up. All right, let's try that. All right, 1.2.20 dots fixed 0.3/8. Okay, and the value is set right there, so that's cool. All right. Okay, so I think the last thing is I think this is where we want to assign it. Bound equals value. Sorry, what happens if I leave the string empty? Yeah, we don't check that. Whoops. No value found. That's coming from sorry, let me get that there. That's coming from the parse stuff, not from the hip measure required thing. We don't have it. So yeah, it should be required. So I'm not addressing that one. So what was the requirements on a hip? I guess that's Pleat Designer. Whoops. value is it's required to be positive. Well, okay. So 0 is a legitimate value in our sense, but it's not not a legal hip measure. I mean, 1 inch is a little implausible too, but 0 is clearly beyond repair. Yeah, so I think this thing should take that as well. Validating text field. Let's see where that's called. To a value. Cannot assign type. This is where I find out what val needs to be. That should not be legal. Right. So we can call parse because we are one of those funky, crazy names. Value is parse. I think, are we a parsable format style? Static function parse. Has a parse strategy. Well, I don't know if that parse strategy is a value parse strategy. Yeah, we need to pass in the validator, but we need to get the parse right too. So if you have a var parse strategy, I mean, if it's proper, I think you are a parsable format style. So I think our value is a parsable format style now. It's a var parse strategy. Let's see if that's true. Well, it's got a static function parse. I think I can do this. If I give him the same parse strategy, Well, format input is string and format output is value. Oh no, format input is value and output is string. Value does not conform. Do you want to add protocol steps? Format style, okay. Well, I guess that's going to be one of these. Extension format style or self equal side. Format style dot inches. No. It's the actual format command. Format value to string on type. I guess I could say format style let's kind of default this to format style. Formatted. Well, I guess it's formatted with some value format style. Okay, let's default that and see how we do. Val has no member parse. Okay, so now val is a parseable format style. Cannot explicitly specialize. Oh, this function's not generic. Parse. Val has no member parse. As a parse strategy. Getting buried again. Getting confused. What's a parse strategy? Parse strategy.parse would work, I think. Value question mark does not conform. Okay, maybe I'm fighting too hard to be generic. Let's make this work on value and whoops. Take this off. All right, take this off. Okay, this is a value. I think that work I did in value just now is not helping. Okay, so what I just did, I guess I put the resulting value. Change it in parsable format style. Yeah, I mean we tested indirectly fairly much, I think, because we check all the parses and we check the formatters pretty good. So the test may go through value rather than value format style, but I think they're pretty complete. All right, so I think now this should actually set hip. So the second field should update 1. Yes, 0.2. Interestingly, it has the format, but that's okay. /8. Okay. Right. Okay. So I think we're good as far as it goes, minus validation. Okay. So let's take out this. And these, they're just dead code from earlier stuff. Okay. Let's see where we are. So what we've got, when input changes, we update, we try to parse it. If it works, we make the bound value there. I might just move this up to, no, I don't think that matters. Okay, and if it doesn't parse, we somehow get whatever description or error we get, and that gets that. Now, all right, so let's commit this. Well, let me run tests. I don't think anything should change it, but okay. What's the type of X? Is that the input? Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, now these. Oh, you stupid editor. Really? It's the stupid combination of the pretty printer puts garbage spaces in. Like, thanks, guys. I don't know if I close the file and reopen it. In the editor, it'll do it there. But it won't pick up on it. I thought the editor used to be, if it caught any of them, it would just run some sort of deduper or despacer on all of them. So SwiftLint is what's enforcing this rule. Am I getting there? Yeah. I think it's on the pretty printer. I don't see any reason to print blank spaces on lines that are empty. So I think it's a fair cop, a fair plea on this thing. But yeah. And to go back and put them in, the spaces in, that's the annoying part. Okay, one more. I think I can. Oops. I'll trust that. Okay, so we made a validating text field that attempts to parse a string. Sorry, excuse me just a second. Okay, I made a validating parser that attempts to parse a string. Prints, well, it shows error if any, or returns the value. Okay. So that's closer. Let's pull this out. I think we've got far enough on it we can maybe refactor it a little. Validating text field. Let's put that, I guess it's in pleats. Well, it's really, yeah, it's almost generic enough. Modifier. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe down there. Okay. All right. We need imports. All right, so a label is the input. This is an input. All right, boy. Let's see what we can do with labeled content. I feel like there ought to be another constructor that, yeah, like that one. I guess I did the other one to get the formatting, maybe. I don't know if it's worth it. No canvas. I don't know if that'll make my contents bold too, which I'm not sure I want. Yeah. Well, I think awkward as that label thing is, I think that's probably the way to go. I guess if you want the flexibility, you got to pay for it a little. Now, is it so terrible to be bold? Well, it loses the contrast to know which ones, I don't know. It's a little weak if it is. All right, let's see what we got here. So field 2, let's inline this. I'm going to do kind of a weird inline. Now I can probably make a method for this, right? How would I say what it's doing? It's func update bound value. Now I think I can just say oh, needs to take a string. Okay, so update bound value. We try to parse the input. We let bound equal that. I almost think, let's see. Can we? Yeah, so what happens if let's say 1, yeah, I think something's funny here. 2.3 point. Notice this value is still 12 and 5/16. It's left to whatever the last successful one was. I don't know if it should be nil. I kind of feel like it should. Okay, so this one, when I made the mistake, it left the value we'd originally had. I'll go back and do it again. 1.125 is a perfect eighth. Junk. Let's do a comma. Yeah. Comma, comma, comma. Junk, junk, junk. That message could be better. If it's leaving 1 1/8 there, I think we want to leave it nil because they haven't they haven't done anything right. It's possible to import these UI functions from other files. Well, I think there'd be a way to make a UI test with it. But to some extent, they're a bit different. I don't know. We've definitely done our fair bit of manual testing on it. Okay, let me make sure this is doing what I think it should do. So 12.3 point should cancel it, and it's nil. Okay, we're seeing the value in hip to hip rear. That's why I'm noticing it. Okay, but put it back and we're good. Okay, so so all we've done so far is extract method. Oh, well, that wasn't true. Okay, and update bound. All right, so one way or the other, when somebody types, we update bound and we update error message. Then the formatting, yeah. Yeah, that's testable. Well, sort of. It might be. Let me, okay, I guess I haven't updated this. All right, handle parse errors in Pleat designer text fields. Split parser validation and value validation. Have an error string. Okay, experimenting on hip stuff. Try creating a validating text field. Okay, so we've done that part at least. July's half over. Ugh. All right. So this is just create a validating text field. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let's attempt. I just don't know if you can create these. I don't think you can create them just directly in a raw thing. That's why the UI tests have the extra overhead. But this, you give it an input, you update a bound variable and a state. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the state is like that's managed by the view system, right? Because a struct by itself is a read-only, it's a value object, so it doesn't necessarily change. And usually, if you update a struct, you're getting a new struct instance. But the at state ties in with the view, and it says, hey, I want you to keep track of this outside of the actual struct and let them all reference the same thing and get to this state. So I think there's view mechanism to get this error message. Now, we could make a function that returned the bound value in the error message and then make this thing assign them once it got them. Yeah, it's just in that line of things. But we're about to make it more complicated, so it seems like it would behoove us to test it if we can figure out a way. So, I mean, it's getting a value in a string back. They're not hard. Yeah, no, I think it's a good thought. if it's static, can we? So if it were a static function, I don't think you would have to create the view to get to it. Let's try that. Static function. Now, it's not going to like it. Okay, let's undo this. We're going to return the value we want bound to be, value, and a string. Okay, so this is return bound, return value and empty string. And this is return well, let's break this up. Let's just let message equal and then do error message equals message and return nil and message. Nil requires a contextual type. This is a value question mark. Okay. Right, and then the call. Okay. I mean, I could make another one. This is our void one. And I'm going to call that instead. Well, it's really or and error. Okay. And this is, well, we want to say bound and error message equals update, self.update bound value with input. And this becomes static. These go away. Okay, so I think that will do it. Okay. We got both bound and error messages, so that's good. All right, so we sort of weirdly extracted a method, a testable method. Okay, and so let's put in a test for validating text field. Yeah. Okay, that's annoying. That's Yoink. It's a very nice little tool that lets you kind of drag something and it keeps it for you while you cut and paste it somewhere. But it gets in the way sometimes. Okay, so this is validating text field test. Okay, and we want, well, we're really going to test this function. So we'll give it an input. Actually, let's take a break first and then come back and write this test. And then we'll extend the test with our validation characteristics. Yeah, I think that'll be a good update and get us the last feature we need for this thing. All right, so 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll come back and fix the test and then extend the method. Welcome back. All right, so this validating text field does 2 things. Let's put it over here. Put our test here. Okay. Basically, it's got 2 outcomes. It either succeeds in parsing the input or it fails. In one case, it returns the bound value. In the other case, it does not. So let's make successful parse returns value and empty message. Okay, so we need an input. So let value message equal validating text field dot update bound value. So we'll need some string, let's say 3.5. Okay, so that's a legitimate value. And then we're going to assert equals that the value should be value dot number 3.5 and the message empty. Okay. Let's return something slightly off just to see the test fail once. If it runs at all, I hope it does. I really don't want to set up UI tests if I can avoid it. Okay, good. We wouldn't do that. All right, here we have the message is X. Yep, it's dead. Okay, so next test. Failed. Parse returns nil. And message. Non-empty message. Yeah, just message. Okay, let's see. So let's do 3.5 dot. Okay, invalid expression. The value should be nil. And the message should be too many dots, I believe. Previous test should pass now. We changed that. Okay, good. I'm glad we did that. Thank you. So tests for validating text field update method. All right. Now. Well, lots of times they tell you to do opacity 0 or 1, but opacity leaves the value present. So I've done the slightly slower way, which I don't really care. I mean, it's an error case. It's not going to be that frequent, or, well, it's not going to be that hard for it to update this, because I want this to physically disappear if it's not there. And unfortunately, I think hidden doesn't take a parameter, believe it or not. So that's unfortunate. All right, but I think we're to the point of worrying about validation. Now, I think our fields only, let's fill in these required fields, 22 and 1 and 6. Okay, now if I delete this, we don't warn about these. Maybe we could or should. There's nothing wrong with it. These bottom ones aren't editable, so they don't come into it. But if we could put a message there, I mean, I could definitely see enforcing that messages are present. I mean, that text is present. All right, so if this field is empty, all right, so how about empty field gets message? Okay, so if my field is empty, now unfortunately see, this first time it's not set. Okay, let's not worry about that one. We change the value to empty, and we want to assert the value should be nil, and the message should be, I think it should be, oh, where's that message coming from? Well, that's label. Yeah, I think this should be there too then. Well, let's get the message should be hip 2 is missing. I'm not sure what we get now. Is it hip measure is required or something? It's not quite the same. I think it'd be fine to use the text here and just say it's missing. That lets us, even if it's not strictly required, it lets us accurately report it, right? This test is going to fail. Okay, and the message is no value found is what value tells us. It's not about our field, it's about value. So I'm going to change this to take the label, and we'll pass the label in here as well. And maybe I should be explicit here. Got two strings going on. Label and input. Okay. And it'll complain we don't do anything with it. Okay, but to make this pass, we're going to say if input is empty, return, well, the value is nil, and the label is missing. I don't know if this will mess any other tests up. If we switch, well, input. Oh, we got the same thing here, yeah. Okay, well, my label. Okay, fair enough. And we call it here. Yep. Okay. Okay, good. We can see that. Now, it doesn't do the initial one, unfortunately. But if I type something and delete it, we get hip2 is missing. Okay. I wonder if it's empty would be a better way to say it. But, okay. Now, all right, so complain if field is empty. Now the initial one, we're gonna have to make this thing a little smarter. Okay, init. We need a label of type string and a bound of type binding of value. And we're going to do something. All right. Boy, should error message be? I mean, we're going to do this for every field. Well, I guess I'm finding a value to Is this underscore thing? Well, well, that's, yeah. All right, I got to get this part right. I don't think I gave myself an answer on that one. Self.bound equals bound. Okay. Yeah, but let's, but I can't, I don't think I can create one. Let's see if I can. Yeah, this part is not, that's a Swift UI thing. I don't know if I can pass. No. There's a way to do this. No. Yeah, I think I'm just going to set a default value. Okay. When it comes in, it's required. It's not there. We'll make us a wire. Okay. Input error message. So this time I should get the warning right away before I type anything. And if I type and delete, it should come back. If 2 is missing, 3, and if 2 is missing. Okay. Now the fun. All right, so we want to enforce constraints. And so I think that's going to come here if like if we type 0, whoops. If we type 0 in here, we get a warning, but the value is still there. So I think we have the same situation here. If we get the value, it parses okay. We're going to run the validator and make sure it's okay. All right, so validator, let's close this. Where were our validators? They should be in Pleat validator. Here we go. Okay, so we have positive. And what's name? Oh, name is the field. Okay, but warning, I'm sorry, this required, we're building that into the component, so we don't have to worry about that one anymore. Value must be positive. I'm not sure that label helps any. If it said value, I would probably be just as happy. Value is missing. Value must be positive. Yeah, that all sounds okay. Hey, welcome. We're working on a calculator that's designed for Kilt makers. And let's see if so a kilt's if you don't familiar with them, they're skirt-like things that they have lots of pleats in the back, so lots of folded fabric in the back, and actually calculating how big, so what happens is somebody comes in, if they've got let's say a 40-inch waist, we'll take half of it for the back of the kilt. And then the set, let's see if I can find a picture. Yeah, you can see in here, the background here is a picture of tartan, and there's a repeat pattern going on. So there's a thin line, well, a medium line and a fat line. And then way over here, we get another medium line, fat line, medium, thickish, then a white line, So from here to here is one set. It's one repeat pattern, one repeat length. Okay, so let's say that's 6 inches apart. Well, if you're making what's called a box pleat, let's see if I can get it down here. They look like this. They fold underneath. Ideally, there's no gap at all, and so the two pieces just fold together, and it comes down flat. And then when you move, the parts can open up and show the interior, which is going to be a little different than what you're seeing on the pleat. So normally the pleat would pick one of these to be the central stripe. So let's say it's this bright white one, which I think is really yellow in the real tartan, but you would make that the center of this, and so it'll look like you got a bunch of white stripes, one per set, and then when you walk, you'll flash open, the pleat will flash open and you'll see the insides. Okay, so it's part of the aesthetic of it. And there's a set of calculations, but you need to know how big around the person is, how much of a pattern, how long the pattern is to repeat. If you're going to, sometimes you have to repeat like 1.5, and every second one is different. Or maybe 3/4 or half if it's a big pleat, big set. And we calculate from the hip measurement, like if you want 2-inch pleats, well, the natural size is 1/3 of the set. So that's a 2-inch pleat, and that means you'll have 10 pleats, and 10 times 2 is 20, so it all makes sense. And then this part is 2 inches, and then an inch, and on this side an inch, that's your 6 inches, okay? Now, the first part of this, let's go back there, is calculations to let you do inches and fractions. So let's say I have 77 3/8 yards. It's going to equal 77 3/8. We get the fraction showing. I can also turn it into yards, and whoops. Let's do 77.3/8 equals. Okay. Oh, we've got something going on there. But at any rate, you could theoretically compute it in yards. Can it be done on Windows OS? I don't have Mac. Well, I'm working in Swift. I know there's some package that lets you work with Swift, but I haven't tried it on a PC. It might be interesting for you if you want to pursue it. See what's involved in Swift UI. It's a moderately big language. I would say it's not quite as big as C++, maybe, but maybe it is. I don't know. It's got a lot of little pieces for things. The user interface style is very kind of like React, but very declarative, I guess, to some extent. So let me get a view out here. I don't think we've done the best one here, but I'm saying there's a section. It contains a field and another field. another section with some text. It's all very declarative, more or less. The insides have more action going on, but from the kind of high level view of it, you just say there's a text component, and it worries mostly about layout. You can tweak it, but it gives you something to go on. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining. You're welcome to stay if you are interested in how Swift goes. What we've been doing lately is we're trying to get warning messages properly on the things you have to fill in. Okay. Is the UI Swift UI is not supported on PC development or something? But at any rate, we're trying to get these warnings. His field is missing, and so on. All right, now, what I think we want from our validation, we're really asking, okay, well, here's positive smaller. Okay, required positive. Well, we can say positive value name. I don't think... I'm going to say let's get rid of this name in there, and let's just say must be positive. All right, so I'm going to go backwards, and the tests will tell me where they assert that right now. Okay, so everywhere that's checking these messages, we're going to change them to just must be positive. Okay. Yeah, my daughter just bought a Mac Mini, and I think it was about $600. Yeah, plus you have to have a keyboard and a mouse and a separate display. I think she's just using it remotely, just whatever you call it. It's not VNC, it's not Delnet, but you can remote log into it. I don't know, $500 is a chunk of money for sure, but you'll spend so much more money and time. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know. I would think it would be. I've definitely done Kotlin development on my Mac, which is pretty common on Android. So we should, yeah, okay, here, voice of experience for you, Mudshark666. All right, so change positive message to not mention field name. All right, and then let's take that out of the validator. Pleat validator. Okay, positive. So I'm going to take this name string off because I don't use it. And there's going to be some build places that everywhere that builds needs it. Maybe some tests too. I wouldn't be surprised. Positive. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the Mac environment and development environment. Swift's been an interesting thing to learn and try and get good at, or at least better at. Okay, so we got rid of positive, remove dead code, unneeded argument. Okay, and now I think positive is a good model for us. So I can get it up here. I lost it. Oh, I'm staring at it. Okay. I think that fits what we want. We want a string if it's not positive. So it's a little backwards. Yeah, you'll pick up a bit. I'm not sure. I'll tell you a great place to start though. Do I have his window up somewhere? Yeah. It's called Hacking with Swift. Gosh, I'm blanking out on his name. Paul Hudson. He's got a bunch of articles, and he's got one called 100 Days of Swift or 100 Days of Swift UI, and just exercise after exercise, taking it piece by piece by piece. And that's been great. I'm about on day 50 something now, maybe 60. And the other one I use is called Codico.com. They used to be raywenderlich.com, but yeah, the new Ray Wenderlich. This site is paid. I mean, Paul's has a paid version. They have some stuff that's free, but they have a lot of different tutorials on various things. So they have this series of things on starting with Swift UI and all that. I don't remember the charge structure for this. Oh, I guess that's for individuals. I want to say, $20 a month or something. Well, could just tell me the price. Okay, I'll let you look if you care. But both these sites, Codico and or Codeco, and Hacking with Swift, have really been amazing additions. Okay, 100 Days of Swift UI, and basically he just gives you a project and a lesson on things, and just piece by piece. It's great. He's great. Hey, welcome. I don't know how to say it. Hersedge. Yeah, I'm coding with Swift, and but I definitely recommend Hacking with Swift and Codeco.com for just tutorial material on this stuff. He's got amazing amounts of free stuff. I run across it all the time when I'm searching, and I usually try and pick his answer because it tends to be right and helpful. So it's good stuff if you're just getting started on it. Can I install Hackintosh? I'm not the person to ask on that one. One of these others can hopefully help. But okay. All right, back to what we're doing. So we got this function positive, and I think the signature is what we want. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So a value question mark to a string, and if you pass in that function to our validating text field, then we should give you the proper error message if you're not valid in some sense. So this is well, it's let's call it validator, and it's a function from was it value question mark to string. Okay, and then yeah, that's got to come in too. Value question mark, optional value to string. Yeah, there's definitely things around. I'm pretty sure I've seen a CSV reader. There was an Excel reading package. I don't know if I don't remember. But yeah, all right. There's certainly a way to get the information in, at least a CSV. I mean, it's not that hard of a format. You could provide us a library if there isn't one, but I'm pretty sure there is. Yeah, that would be an interesting project. All right. Okay, so we've got the pieces here. All right, now I want to say I'm going to pass. We got some tests we've been doing, so yeah, I mean you certainly can parse XML. No fun, but there's definitely tools out there for it. And you could give him a front end probably almost as easily, and maybe avoid that. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to test our validation some more. Okay. So this case is test successful parse but fails validation, returns value and message. Okay, so again, we'll take a similar tack on these. Okay, so value and message. All right, so the validator, we're going to have to add our validator. The validator is well, it takes an optional value and returns a string. So let's just make it always fail. So let's return failed validation. And this is value in or nothing in. Okay. Validating text field, update bound value. Right, he doesn't take the validator yet. Okay, so validator has to get saved here. All right, and then it's going to have to come in here. I always forget this. Add escaping. Okay. And this is validator at escaping. Value question mark goes to string. Okay. So our tests have to update. So they'll need a validator too. We'll just make it empty for now. And I could make a default argument of it, but I think in real life, you're always going to have a validator. So let's just explicitly put it in. All right. And actually, maybe it successful parse of value and empty message. Okay, that one we're going to let it be there. Failed parse, let's say wrong message. Okay, so we don't want wrong message. We want too many dots. Empty field gets message. Again, let's do wrong message. Okay. All right, so this test should fail. Oh, no, my message should be, let's make the input valid. Input is 1.5, but the message should be failed validation. And the result should be a number 1.5. That was our value object. Missing argument. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, so validator is found on here. What's the problem here? Yeah, okay. Found on here and in here. So we got it to pass. All right. Missing another one. Okay. It'll just make it that for now. I'm going to take this comment out. We moved that stuff already up to the other class. All this to get our failing test. Okay, we didn't get failed validation because we don't do any validation yet. All right. So if the value passes, all right, let me fix this warning while I'm here. Okay. Okay, if parsing passes, then we want to return, we're going to return the value no matter what. Let's see, but this, we're going to want to call our validator. So let's call validator of value. All right, that gives us a string, an empty string if it's okay, a warning string if it's not. Okay. And our test should pass. And we can add the test that goes with it. Let me move this test up, actually. Successful parse that passes validation returns value and an empty message. Okay. What's the problem here? I'm using SwiftLint to find these little picky things, and they get annoying, but oh well. Okay, so empty field gets message. Let's see. Successful parse just passes. A successful parse but fails validation returns the value and the message. A failed parse returns nil in the message, and an empty field gets a message. All right, I feel really good about covering these cases. Mudshark 666 proposed that we test it, and I think it's a good test. All right, test should pass. All right, let's fix these. Well, that one needs to be more than that. Is that a long line? Yeah. Okay, so add validator to text field validator called if the value parses successfully. All right, now here, hip2, it's sort of made up, but it should be positive. So let's get our Pleat validator dot positive. Value to string, good. Oops, where was that? I need that junk. Okay, I'm just passing a function. All right, and run. Okay, we get it's missing. If it's 0, it fails. If it's got a typo in it, 0.1.2, too many dots. Junk. All right. Okay, I think we are there. Hip2 is set to validate that hip measure is positive. Get a CSV file automatically refreshing. I mean, usually you might be able to look at the metadata, right? Like the file modified date and stuff like that, rather than the contents. Also, you may be able to put something on the other system that periodically monitors and, just updates you with the latest or something. All right. So I think we're at the moment where we can flip. Okay, so we've got field 2, validating text field, this. All right, let's put this, let's inline that. Okay, and this, let's take this text. Okay, and that's good. Okay, and notice we're getting rid of hip error. All right, so I don't think I need this anymore. All right, let's make sure this all works. I do try and test the kind of unit test level stuff and hand test the UI stuff. Fortunately, we were able to pull out some unit level stuff in that last one. All right. Hip to hip rear is missing. Well, I'd like to get that out of that message thing too, but okay. 0 is bad, 1.2.3 is bad, 1.28 is good. Oh, change of focus does not do that. Oh. Okay. It is legal. Let's make it 20 and this 6. This should all work out, right? 1 2-inch pleat, 10 pleats. Okay. But we're finding out why that focus thing is there. I think I've deleted all the good stuff that would tell us why we went to that trouble. Okay. Time we got. All right. Whether to worry about that or move on. All right, let's see what our to-do is saying. Haven't looked at that. Handle parser errors. Yes. Split parser validation. Okay, we've done that. Okay, I think we've done this whole bit. Okay, and then what we haven't done then is handle switch in focus to display final value. Excuse me. And we also want to replace existing fields. So that's hip, set, sets per pleat, pleats, and width, pleat width. Okay, and we've done hip. All right, so let's go back here. Well, let's fix this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do the replacement on the next one, and let's see what we got. Okay, we want to validate set. Designer.set. And what do we require in the set? Let's see where these get called. Set requires positive, just like the other one. Pleat view, so set. Pleat validator positive, okay. That's good. And then sets per pleat error is also required positive. Okay, 26.5. Yeah, let's make it 6.375. 1. Okay. Well, those seem good. If I change them to a 0, must be positive. 0.2 point. All right, that's feeling good. All right, so what I see then is we're really going to pull out of the Pleat designer. We don't need sets per Pleat error anymore. I don't think anybody references it, or hip error. Okay, does anybody use it right now? Tests, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, yeah, that's all pulled into that validation. We don't have to repeat it here. So only tests are using hip error. Let's get hip error out of here. I went to the zoo last week, and it's hard not to say hippo here. Okay, hip error. Oh, that was a duplicated. Okay, but that's fine. That's gone. Hip error message. I wonder if will we circle hip error is something. I don't think I want to look in hip error. I'm almost pulling it out of the domain to worry about that. It's becoming. It's really becoming a user interface side or view side thing to show the error is there. And yet, like, I guess we could theoretically, I mean, we certainly could get this one wrong. But, yeah, okay. Let's go back here. So this test really is an error message test. We've checked the validators, so I think that part's okay. Okay. Let's make sure tests are green. All right, delete unused hip error. And make more fields use the validating text field. Okay, next one. All right, set. Do we have set error? Who uses that? Only tests. Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be possible to give it the wrong validator, but I think we're going to simplify those too. So I suspect it's not, it's going to need a touch of validation, I guess. I mean, you would have to notice that that was not being validated properly. All right. sets per pleat error. Again, tests only. That's a good sign. We were consistent. All right, back here. Okay, the design, I guess we could keep that. This is number of pleats. Oh, I need to make sure I've got the right fields too. Hip measure set, sets per pleat. Okay, label pleats, designer, pleat number, sorry, pleat count. Okay, and we'll keep this. So these are optional. They're not really there, not really needed until we get the required fields. So this should be able to go. The validation, that we need to check that. Number of pleats. Pleat count. Pleat counter is another positive one. Okay, well that's promising. Okay. All right, let's run. Okay, so before this didn't really come in. I don't know if I like the message being required when the field's not required yet. But this all should work. Okay, number of pleats. Oh, that can't work. Let's make this 2. Oh no, something's wrong there. Okay, when these 3 get set, let me run that again. Let me put this back. Yeah, the number should be calculated, so something's not updating. Okay, so if I do 26, 1, and that should have been defaulted to 1 actually. That should be calculated. Let's take this one out, put the original and make sure if we've got that working properly. Yeah, that's more like it. 26, 2. Okay. So something is not calculating it. All right, but also this default is wrong. All right, let me add to to-do because we're running low on time. Sets per pleat should have initial value. Okay. And then number of pleats, that gets calculated there. But so these are forcing the calculation. So let's go look at Pleat Designer. So did set on hip, right? Hip tip measure did set establish non-required values. So if we don't have any required, if we're missing some required values, set those to nil. Otherwise, we should set this. All right, let's take that out. Am I running? Whoops. Take this out. Okay, so those are nil because they're not calculated. Let me check this. If I do 1, how many times can I edit the wrong screen? Okay, if I do 1, okay. Tentative pleat is 2. Count as value is 10. Pleat count equals count as value. Yeah. Where's the field to nil? Pleat count does a calculation, but which thing is being forced to nil here? Actually, yeah, I mean, I think what has to happen, I think this thing should look at the bound value and put that in the input. If it's already a value, that kind of addresses this one too. Sets per pleat comes in, its value is 1, so its input should be 1, able to be edited. I think that's what's happening here. Oh, we continue. Okay, it put them in. Something's weird. All right, let's take I take this out. Okay, that's not calculated. If I put it in, take the break out. Okay, it is calculated. What went wrong though? If I did this. Yeah, what was weird was when none of these were here. Right, you got an error message on number of pleats. Oh, I put this back. Okay, so I'm not using the new pleats. No wonder it's not acting like it's wrong. Okay, that's too big for 60 seconds. All right, so what do we got? Well, should have initial value. Let's make a question. Should number of pleats and pleat width have warnings before they're active? And I don't know the answer quite. I don't think it's terrible that they say they need something, but yeah. All right. Well, we got a good ways through the replacement today. I think the replacement of validating text field and then the ability to get rid of all those error message checks and all that stuff in the Pleat designer, That definitely feels like a good move. We're cutting out a bunch of stuff that's there only for error messages. Actually, I think this one's gone too. Yep. So we'll continue with that tomorrow. It's 2 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. This is a short week for me. I'm going to be out on Thursday. And I'm sure we'll finish this tomorrow, though, so we'll see where we go from there. But thanks for joining. I appreciate a couple of new people speaking up, and BloodShark666 appreciate you as always. So have a good evening, and I will catch you in the future, I hope. Bye-bye.